Alright, so here we are with Blazing Emerald version 1.1. I'm going to show the new Deoxys event where I've fully tweaked it, because before I felt like it was a little rushed, it didn't really make too much sense. You kind of just talk to the guy and go to space, no options, you're just sort of there. It seemed a little off to me. So I decided to fully revamp that, try to make it more of like a back and forth quest, a little more interesting, a little more fun. Try to get some new mechanics into this that you won't really see anywhere else in the game. I think it turned out pretty good, but I'll just show it right now. So, first thing you're going to need to do, I went ahead and skipped to this part because the part that you have to do, the prologue really to this, isn't super relevant to the actual event itself. It's more tied to another event, but basically you'll go to a route, you'll have to use dive, you'll get there. It's more about shaman in this event, but at the end of it you will get this item that you can find on the ground, and once you have this, you'll be able to talk to this guy and he will give you new dialogue. Alright, so, oh yeah, and if you talk to McKenny, he'll just give you a little reminder. Basically, what you're going to have to do now is go to Meteor Falls, which I will go ahead and cut to where you need to be, because that's going to take a little while. Alright, so here we are at Meteor Falls. Some of you guys might recognize this area. It's a pretty important spot if you've got a dragon type on your team. This is where you're going to get Dragon Claw normally. After you've talked to the scientist, though, instead of just Dragon Claw, which would normally be right here, there's going to be this door that opens up. And if you go through here, it'll be a little dark room. There's nothing crazy in here. It's just dark for thematics, whatever. But you'll find this item in here, the star chart, which you can then go back to the scientist. So we're going to go ahead and cut again to that, because that is also going to take a while. Alright, and there we go, back at Moss Deep with the star chart. So, we'll talk to the scientist. He'll have some new dialogue again. So, for anyone who's played Emerald before, you'll probably know that Rayquaza's signature ability is Airlock. Before, you just kind of went there anyways. Wasn't really any reason why you could be in space, you were just there. I know in Oros, what they did was they had you get in a spacesuit, but model changes aren't really possible in Gen 3, and that would be a lot of work anyways for just one little area. So I figured one kind of cool way to let you go into space and still have it make some sense is with the ability Airlock, which I feel makes enough sense here that it creates its own little atmosphere. So the idea is supposed to be that having Rayquaza in your party lets you be in space without, you know, suffocating or exploding. That was a little morbid. Okay, so you talk to him with Rayquaza. Obviously surprised you have a Rayquaza, because you're like, what, your character's 10? But anyways, your 10-year-old is ready to go into space. Alright, maybe this is too long of a pause there. It'll actually give you an option this time. It's not just surprise, space time. You can say no, and if you want to say no, you can go ahead and wait. You can go do whatever else you want to do. And whenever you're ready, you can go back to him, and you can get on any time. Of course, you will have to check again the Rayquaza. You can't just put Rayquaza in your party, and then go back and put him away and go anyways. I thought about that. Nice try. Okay, so you're in the rocket. Here's a little star chart that you put up there. This is pretty much the same as how it used to be. I actually think the little rocket launch was about as good as I could make it, honestly. I'm sure there's some way to do something crazy, like actually show a graphical effect of the rocket launching. Because I know they do have that cutscene for Rayquaza flying with Groudon and Kyogre fighting, but that's way beyond me. I tried looking up how to do stuff like that. There was nothing on that. But I'm pretty happy with how this looks. Alright, and here you are. Space. Can wander around. There are wild encounters here. The two Pokemon you're going to be finding are, well, surprise, Lunatone. It's supposed to be like the moon that you're on, after all. So you can find Lunatones here, or Matangs, which are much less common, but they do show up here. You do only get to go to this place one time, so if you do want to catch a Matang, this is a pretty good opportunity to do it. I'll go ahead and use a Repel, though, since there's not really too much else to show with that. You can talk to the scientist again. He'll just talk about where you're at. I did get the little rocket texture in there, which is pretty cool. I thought that was a nice touch, so you can actually, like, see where you guys are. There's not too much to... Oh, oops. I believe I have a walkthrough walls cheat code on, because I am a dirty cheater and wanted to get out of Meteor Falls really fast. So if you stand right here, he's going to come up to you and talk to you and tell you that if you're going to go further, you should take the moon collar with you. Surprise, that is going to be relevant later on. He's going to come up with some excuse why he can't go with you because he's a big baby. He's going to stay at the rocket, so you're going to have to do the exploring on your own. Go in this little cave, and this is where the bulk of the work went into as far as trying to actually figure out new mechanics. I think this is pretty fun, at least. I got a lot of inspiration from Pokemon Clover, so they're the main starters of this idea, at least as far as I've seen. But the concept here is that it's like a jumping puzzle, where you can jump on blocks, and the only movement you really have is on this small grid of the blocks. And you can only jump one, so these are here to kind of show you that. And the idea is that you have to figure out how to get to the exit off of just this style of movement. It's not too complicated. I don't want to make the puzzles too hard so that they're, like, annoying. I know some ROM hacks get a little bit insane, like the glazed puzzle where you have to get Deoxys. Sometimes they can take, like, 30, 40 minutes. I try to keep these pretty simple. I don't want anyone spending more than, like, 5 to 10 minutes on this tops. It's pretty straightforward, honestly. Probably shouldn't even take you more than a couple minutes. The idea is just to show a mechanic and have a little fun with it. And there you go. Pretty easy stuff. You'll go here, which is a new little area. So this is where the map really starts to get a little bit more involved. You're actually able to walk around a fair bit. And if you go right here, you will get one special encounter with a certain Metagross. This is here mainly just to let you get another opportunity to catch a Metagross, because normally you just get that really weak little Beldum from Steven. Now, obviously most people do the level 50 version of fighting in the Battle Frontier, which means this level 60 Metagross can't be used there, because I still want to, like, keep it relevant that you actually raise the Beldum that Steven gives you, since that is kind of a hassle. But here's a Metagross here if you just want to have one on your team and have fun with it. Okay, so Metagross is done. And boom, little stars. That was probably one of the most annoying things to actually get working, is figuring out these animated tiles, but I like how they turned out. I feel like they make this little final area look a little more serious. So, that's about all there is to see here. Gonna go to the most obvious place, which is up these stairs, and here here it goes. And there's Deoxys. So in Blazing Emerald, actually, Deoxys will switch to attack form rather than speed form, which is what it would do in normal Emerald. Once you've captured the Deoxys, it's just going to switch forms, switch stats, and all that. But in the first fight, as is normal, it'll always go ahead and be in its standard form. You can catch it, you can kill it, it doesn't really matter. Hell, you can even run away from it. But for the sake of this, we're just going to knock it out. And after the battle, the scientist will come up to you. And there you go. That's the event. You can talk to the scientist again, and he'll mention the fight that you did. Before, he used to just kind of disappear. Maybe he got lost in space. I don't know what happened to him. But now he's actually here to stay, and he'll talk to you about what you guys did. And I'm actually considering, before making this all go public, since I do have a lot more plans for this event, this will be the final event and the final patch of the game, by the way, for content at least. Something I was considering doing was potentially having other people in Moss Deep, maybe just people in the Space Center, actually have change dialogue once you've done this event, where they'll reference that you went into space, because that's a pretty big deal, you know? I feel like that's one thing that the Pokemon games were lacking a little bit, is characters do these, like, crazy things, but the NPCs don't really respond to it, you know? Like, you go out and you, like, save the world, but some random guy will still tell you that he likes to wear shorts. It doesn't seem that important, you know? So, I was thinking maybe in Moss Deep I would have some of the characters actually respond to the fact that you just went into space. So their dialogue will change when the flag is set, and if you have done the event, they'll say something like, whoa, you went into space and fought Deoxys, or like, whoa, what was that like? What was the fight like? Or whatever, you know. Something just to make it seem like you actually had an impact on the town. I feel like that would be a cool little dynamic. But I'm not 100% sure if I want to do that. I like the idea, but it may stand out too much compared to the rest of the game. But anyways, that's the Deoxys event, and I hope you guys like it.